Hey, what's happening? Welcome to Maych TV. So, former Liverpool manager Jurgen Klopp has been on Stephen Bartlett's Diary of a CEO podcast. On that podcast, he was asked whether he could ever return to manage Liverpool, and the response has sent shockwaves throughout the, fake news community, mainly on Facebook and beyond. It set chins and tongues a wagging about the possibility of the greatest manager of the modern era, certainly the Premier League era. Could he come back to the dugout? This is all in the fallout and wake of Liverpool losing 4 consecutive games of football. People are looking out for rays of hope and sunshine and something to grab onto that can drag us out of a defeat to Manchester United mire. And then in drops this podcast into our lives. Listen, for the avoidance of doubt, let's play the clip so we can see exactly what he said.
What are my chances? Hit me with it. Just give it to me straight.
Not good.
You mean not good like 1 out of 100?
I'd say more like 1 out of 1,000,000.
So you're telling me there's a chance? Yeah!
What are we doing? What are we doing? Just leave him alone. Just let him be. And I get it. Look, I get it. I've recently, many of you will have seen my podcast with Smithy from Saturday Social, Inside the Industry, that came out last week. Thank you so much, everyone who's watching. The feedback's been really, really good. We recorded that in I think maybe January or February, so it's been sat there for a long old time, and it's interesting actually that there's quite a few clips where I talk about Jurgen Klopp in that, because it was still quite a fresh thing, just a year on from him announcing that he was going to leave the football club. There's quite a few clips of me talking about Klopp that are doing the rounds that are now actually really wonderfully coincide with the fact that Klopp's now shot back up the algorithm charts, as it were, because of the Diary CEO thing. So that was easy for me to say, wasn't it? Dear Lord, the Diary of a CEO thing. Why I mention this is to say thank you to Smithy for giving me the chance to talk about some of the real lows of the last 15 years of my life, but also because sometimes things are timed accidentally and sometimes things are timed deliberately. And look, if I was handling the socials for Stephen Bartlett, I would very much be pushing that particular angle, and it's telling that it is right now, it's the title of the whole, YouTube video as well. Now, obviously, what you see with big things like that is they get switched around periodically to try and garner fresh hits and clicks. So if there's another topic within there that becomes really topical, don't be shocked to see the title and the thumbnail switch to that. But right now, Liverpool are in dire form, particularly in terms of the results. And there you have the legendary manager opening the door, just a crack. The reality is, just leave him alone. God, honestly, the guy who's been to his second wedding in 25 years, been to the pictures for the first time in 20 years. Just let him live his life, for the love of God. He hasn't been to the pictures. He hasn't been to the cinema. My God, he's missed the entirety of the Infinity Saga of Marvel films because he's been a football manager. He's been stressed to high heaven. He hates it. Have you watched the clip, the real clip? Watch the video. All it is going, yeah, look, theoretically it's possible. And because, look, yeah, I mean, he's not going to 100% lock it down and say no, never, 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 because there might be a situation in his life in the future where he goes, actually, wouldn't mind another little go at that. And if it's known publicly that he's got no interest, then it might not be considered. It's there are certain things in life when you can say no, never, I guarantee never. Will I ever be a Manchester United fan? Absolutely no, never. And I could say, would you wear a Manchester United shirt? And no, but is it theoretically possible that I might wear a Manchester United shirt and so on? Yeah, theoretically, if it raised loads of money for charity, or to do it, Gary Neville had to be sort of stood in front of a crowd and have rotten veg thrown at his face, and in return I'd wear a Manchester United shirt. Yeah, theoretically, it's possible. That is the kind of realms where I would do that kind of thing. So, yeah, look, people are making a lot out of nothing. But it is off the back of, when things aren't going great for the football team, you do kind of look around. Everyone wants this magic bullet, the silver, whatever you want to call it, that one shot that's going to fix everything in one go. And people have it. I remember, so I went to university in Sheffield and left and moved back to Liverpool. And I've talked about this story previously, but it was between the legs of Liverpool playing Bayer Leverkusen in the Champions League in 2004-2005, which obviously famously led to us winning it in Istanbul. And I just had a real giddy thrill of, I think I'm kind of done living here. Liverpool are doing this thing. I kind of want to be back home. I want to go and crack on with the next phase of my life. And the Liverpool thing was a real sort of catalyst for that. I get back, Liverpool, have a good run, they do win it, and so many of the things that I thought was going to happen in my life just didn't transpire. It turns out I had an absolutely terrible financial record, which meant I couldn't get a loan, so I couldn't get a camera, I couldn't start the business that I wanted to start. I really struggled to get a good job. I had some terrible jobs. I then, just made a bunch of really, really bad decisions. And within the space of about 6 or 7 months, I was thinking, I might just leg it back to Sheffield, I might go back, and all of a sudden the nostalgia of it all was like, actually it was all right there. I had quite a free life. I was living on, and I had some good friends, and maybe I could go back and do it. And I came close. I came a phone call away from doing it, basically. Spoke to an old boss, had it all organised, started looking for houses, and then I just had a what are you doing? Look, that was the past. There was a very good reason why you moved away. You wanted to go and succeed in this sort of place, this sort of space back home. So just stop it. Have a word with yourself and look at what you've got and build from there. And look, that is a very long-winded way of saying, we need to stop worrying about what happened in the past and need to look around at what Liverpool have got right now, because they've got loads of really good things going for them. There have been times in the past where Liverpool have had bad spells, and so I wrote a post-match piece after the Manchester United game on the Substack, which is maighpublishing.substack.com. If you haven't checked it out and want some more Liverpool musings from me in written form, then I'll link it below. But I spoke about we were entering into the territory where Liverpool were attacking in the final phase of the game, and there's a guy behind me going, please Liverpool, please, please. When you're a really, really good team and you feel like you've got everything going for you, you tend not to worry so much about superstition. So in 13-14, me and Chris from Redmen, good old Chris Payjack, we had a routine where every home game we go to a particular shop and we buy a can of Coke and a double decker, and Liverpool would win. And that was part of it, but it was a lot of it was down to, we didn't really feel that Liverpool were the best in the business. We didn't feel like they were truly deserving, champions elect, that kind of thing. It just felt magic. So anything you can do to sort of keep the good vibes going, that's how you felt it was. Whereas so much of the time after that, under Klopp, when we were at the absolute best of the best, you go, oh God, wasn't that totally stupid? The trick is just have a really good manager, a really good gang of players who are really committed to the cause and run through brick walls, and a really good tactical setup, and that'll get you beyond so much things. So you don't need to worry about crossing your fingers and going to higher powers to make things happen, because you can trust the lads on the pitch and in the management staff to deliver it for you. And the weekend was the first sort of taste of that, really. That oh God, we're hoping that something magic is going to happen to deliver us from this potential painful scenario. Whereas I recognise that because that was how we used to support Liverpool through the 90s and the 2000s, because we were never really, really that good. Even when we were good, it was still always felt like on a knife edge. We did things in the most difficult way possible. So it did make you very, very superstitious. But the thing that you've got right now that I just think is so wildly different from any of those sort of previous times, it's just the amount of quality at Liverpool, in terms of how Liverpool has been run from top to bottom, is just so much sharper and smarter than it's ever been in all avenues. And look, put that to one side, because how much money Liverpool make commercially or the size of the stadium is kind of irrelevant to how the team performs on the pitch. Liverpool have got loads of really good footballers, really, really good footballers. We're not carrying loads of bums, and we have done plenty of times in my lifetime supporting the club. So you've got to look at what's there and trust that the manager is good enough to get it over the line, and that will come. And if he gets it right, then cool. You know, that's his job. And he's got the tools to be able to get it right. Certainly more right than it's been in the last 4 games. Certainly. And look, ultimately, if he doesn't, then Liverpool have to try other things. But I would be much happier with them trying other things with, again, the volume of sheer quality of footballer. So many of our problems at the moment seem to stem from, like, what is the best 11 and, you know, and trying to get certain players. You know, one of our issues is we're trying to get Alexis McAllister, or 2 of our issues, and Mohamed Salah into form. These are 2 of the best players in the league, 2 of the best players in the world, and they're out of form. But you would still bank at some point they'll have a good spell in the season where they're level, even if, let's say, even if they are finished, which I don't think that either of them are finished, like overnight, done. You know, it's going to be, this is the new level that they've been playing at. This is what they're going to be now for the rest of the season and beyond. I don't think that's the case. I think they'll still have spells within the season where you go, yeah, because we do this with footy players all the time. And look, things turn for the better, particularly when you've got the elite sportsman mindset that almost everyone, certainly in the Liverpool squad, has got. So it's a case of like looking at what the positives are. Now, I was starting to draft up a list of like what's actually going right for Liverpool, and that was what this video was going to be. So I'm going to do a little bit more work on that. I'm going to see how the Frankfurt game goes, and then I'll either, if we lose, then God, that's going to be like absolute pulling teeth, isn't it? But we'll see. Look, I'm here for it. I do worry sometimes that what you know, people talk about like what is your USP? What is it that you do that others don't? And look, there's very little that I do that other people don't or can't. Certainly these days, just being here was a thing 15 years ago. There was no one here, so you know, being the first was good. We were starting something new. Anyone can put a camera and press record and talk about football now. It's fine. But what I am seeing is just an increasing tidal wave of negativity, and it's fine to feel sad and feel annoyed. And I'm just down in the dumps. And life is hard. Football's meant to be escapism. So when football doesn't provide escapism, it just feels like a bit of a pile-on. But I'm a huge fan of Paul Tompkins. I've said it before and I will continue to say this. So if you need of positivity, read more Tompkins Times stuff. Even people like Andrew Beasley and Josh, who obviously helps us do the deep dive as well on distance covered. These are people who are analytically looking at things and saying that, okay, look, it's not great, but there are pathways out of this. My concern is I've spent so many times over the last 15 years trying to see where it might not be totally fucked, and people often get cross with that. Have I got the energy to go through this again, to go through another period where Liverpool aren't super brilliant? I honestly don't know, but I will continue to say things as I see them, and it doesn't mean that I'm turning a blind eye completely to when things aren't going very well. You can see that Liverpool aren't playing well. There isn't a coherence to how they're playing. There are major issues. We discussed 21 problems, you know, some of them legitimate, some of them a bit mad, that are facing Arne Slot on the video the other week. I still stand by several of those points. They remain things to be fixed. But what I would say is that it feels like there is rich, fertile soil with which to grow a very good season this season. But they do need to crack on with that because patience wears thin. And one of the things I said on my post-match video after United on Redmen was this sort of growing tide of negativity. It adds weight to what you do, and so all of a sudden you go into games with must-wins. There shouldn't be must-wins in October. And Liverpool have played themselves into a situation where they really need to start winning football games. And winning football games is hard. We've made it look easy at times, but it should never be forgotten that it's really hard to win football matches. There's a lot of effort that goes into it, and Liverpool are making it very, very hard work. They need to find a way to shortcut that. They need to find a way to get coherence. They might need to make some big decisions over players like Salah and what you do with him. But I would be looking around at the players that are in form. There's not loads of them, and we are in danger of playing several of them out of form. But yeah, look, as it stands, I feel annoyed by it. I feel a bit down by it because that's just what it is to when your football team loses, right? We all kind of feel that. But I'm interested to see how the manager goes about turning it around, because I think he will. I hope he will. Please, Liverpool, please. Delving back into the Klopp stuff just feels a bit like, some nostalgised version of the past. Jurgen Klopp, doesn't want to be Liverpool manager right now. He's done with being a Liverpool manager. He said it himself. He wants to go to the pitches and he doesn't want to stand in the rain and he doesn't want to do press conferences and he doesn't want to deal with bullshit refereeing anymore. He wants to actually live a life. For a guy who's got such great joie de vivre, he wants to actually go and love life for a bit. He wants to go out and see the world and enjoy it. He's saying he likes his job. He's just saying that there's a possibility at some point in the future that might change, and he's keeping that sort of door open just to crack, but that's all it is. So don't worry about it, and don't use it as a stick to beat Arne Slot, because it's pointless. It is utterly pointless, because really, he's not going to choose to come back to Liverpool, not now. So let's just support what we've got, and try and find enjoyment in that where we possibly can. Yeah, cool. What do you think is going right for Liverpool? Pick me some things, whether it's players or elements of how players are playing or particular things that we're doing tactically, anything. Just anything. I've done the 21 things that are wrong with Liverpool. I'm going to see how many things that are actually right and see off the back of that whether we can kind of pull it together and find a coherent path forward or a deeper understanding of what Slot has to do, maybe what he will do. And who knows, maybe you'll watch it and go, right, there's the answer. Not going to happen anyway, because he doesn't watch us. Because just bring Jurgen back, because he'll at least like what we did. Right, thank you so much. Do check out the Substack. I'll put the link on the screen here somewhere. It is free to read the stuff. It does help if you subscribe to it for free. There is a paid offering which supports everything we do on here. There isn't any reason beyond just I want to support the Maych project at the moment, but there will be coming. My book, first novel, is coming soon. It should be arriving in the next couple of weeks. I'm very, very excited about that. But anyway, yeah, that's Liverpool. I love Jurgen Klopp and I adore him, but the pathway for Liverpool is forward, not back right now.